Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Our seventh president of the United States, Andrew Jackson, said this: "The Bible is the rock on which our republic rests." Amen. Got to get back to that. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America to kick off the program this morning. Callers are welcome for our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on in, Kate, please. And a great big good morning out there in Radio Land, Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, it's time for us to tell you all about what's going to happen today with our major sponsors. And that's, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of safe driving tires. Before you leave for Labor Day weekend, you better get on in there and have them help you out. Don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And also Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Real quick, Jerry, how are you feeling, my friend?
Well, I'm having a rough time.
Well, you know that our thoughts and prayers are with you, old buddy. Thank you.
We're getting better.
All right, that's the main thing. Thanks for doing the pledge. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Right now, it's time to go to the...
May the Lord bless you and your whole audience.
I appreciate it, Jerry. Thank you so much. Best to you. Right now, it's time for our weather forecast brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn. Oh, my goodness, they're right smack dab on the Burley-Paul Highway. You can't miss them. No, they've got the best of tools and equipment for your rental, for any kind of a job that you need to finish up. You know, there's a lot of things to do to get ready for fall. They've got all the equipment. There's a lot of things you got to nail down, and you've got to get ready before the ground freezes. They've got all the equipment. Please get a hold of Roger and the crew today. K&R Rental at 678-3122. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're looking at another warm day as we are making our way towards the Labor Day weekend. Here's your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies. High of about 93, slightly breezy winds out of the southwest at about 8 miles an hour, turning to the north-northwest in the afternoon. High of 93 tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 54. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies. However, by the afternoon, we do have a 20% chance of rain showers and thunderstorms. High of 91, mostly clear for tomorrow night with a low of 55. Looks like sunny and 88 for Friday. Back up into the 90s for your Labor Day weekend for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it. She does a phenomenal job of compiling all our weather facts. Right now, we got about 55 degrees outside, and the weather brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn. I'm urging you to get a hold of them today. They're located on the Burley-Paul Highway. Number to call if you need information, 678-3122, K&R Rental. Today on the program, I've got some real big heavy hitters, and I don't want you to miss a minute of this. We've got Dave Bego in Indianapolis, Indiana. We've got Karen Strawn up in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. We've got Gary Goldman back in Beantown, Boston, Massachusetts. And one of my favorite guests that absolutely tells it like it is, Brigitte Gabriel. And she's going to be on at 10:30, so don't miss a minute of it. Want to remind you, too, about our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. And, when you've been in business for almost 7 decades, holy cow, that says great things about the way you do business, conduct your business, and serve the public. Well, they are your headquarters for all of your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. I urge you, caller, I'll be right there. I urge you to give them a call or stop in at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. They're open 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. Again, they've got all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs as they have for almost 7 decades. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Real quick before I take my call, if you're hungry, man, I'll tell you what, the last couple of days I've been starved. We haven't taken time to have lunch or supper or hardly anything. Get on into Denny's restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley. They are, underline it, America's Diner. And they've got another location in Twin Falls at 291 Pole Line Road. Don't forget the very best of delicious breakfasts, whether you're looking for strawberry crepes or maybe an omelet. Oh, my goodness. Lunch, dinner, all the desserts, great people serving you at Denny's Restaurant. The home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch at 611 North Overland in Burley. Yep, they are America's Diner. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I'm not a football fanatic like a lot of people, but the Indianapolis Colts star player, Andrew Luck, announced his retirement. And guess what? All these people that had season tickets want their money back. I say no. What do you say?
Well, I'll tell you how I feel about it, and I'm very, very blunt about it. Andrew Luck has played for 9 seasons in the NFL. He doesn't have to prove himself to anybody. He was one of the premier quarterbacks in the NFL for those 9 years. Andrew Luck has suffered a lot of very, very devastating physical injuries that took a lot of time to heal and try to come back from. And Andrew Luck finally said, after this latest series of injuries to his shoulder and his ankles and his legs, that he thought it was time to retire. Now, is the audience, or the crowd, I should say, or the fan base, are they going to say, go out there wounded, go out there hurt, take a risk of getting severely injured for the rest of your life just so I can honor my season ticket by seeing you play? I think it's asinine and stupid. How can I be more blunt?
How could you be more blunt? I think I look at it this way. These people that want their money back, okay, say that he didn't retire and the first game of the season he gets seriously injured or anything. But they still want their money.
Well, that's my whole point. I mean, if he goes out in game 1 of the regular season, which is just a matter of days away, and gets severely injured because of the pre-existing injuries he has right now, and he can't play for the rest of the season, what are they going to do? Are they going to make the same demands? People are stupid when it comes to people that are in sports and other occupations, and I really am bitter about this. There was a recent story that happened with ESPN. I'm not going to get into a lot of names, but I will say that a very, very famous, well, I'll mention his name, very famous Hall of Fame quarterback, Troy Aikman, really stood some people on their nose back at ESPN that were criticizing Luck for retiring. And I got to give a great big shout out and a compliment to Troy Aikman. He told him exactly where that goat got in the garden and ate the cabbage and left nothing unsaid.
Well, you said it all, and we pretty much agreed for a change.
Well, I don't think it's pretty much. I think it's in its entirety. No, I think we 100% agree. I am, I don't care if it's me. And I've got a contract with many advertisers. And all of a sudden, if I develop, God forbid, some incurable problem with my throat or whatever, are they going to hold that against me? I mean, I can't help it. Andrew Luck couldn't help it. And the injuries are so severe and recurring, you can't blame him. It's just like Gronkowski from the New England Patriots. He reached a point where the injuries were going to impede him for the rest of his life.
Well, and here let's get back to something a little closer to home, and that's where Sharon takes your place every other week. I don't think your advertisers would flinch one moment. Yes, let's continue on.
Well, they're not, and all my people...
And she does too.
Yeah, all my people are really supportive of our program and everything. I have no worries there whatsoever. And as a matter of fact, it's funny that you should say it, because tomorrow is Sharon's turn to take over and run the program tomorrow. Keith, I've got to pay some bills, but I do appreciate your calls. Thank you.
You bet.
All right, sir. Don't forget Ark Animal Hospital at 750. Oh, my goodness. Almost had a problem there and choked to death. Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street. That's what you get for sucking on those cough drops. They're ugly. And they're at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. And I'm going to give you the number right now, because if you've got pets or large animals that aren't doing the way they should be health-wise, you better get a hold of them today, 678-1177. Now, I mentioned little bitty kitty cats, puppy dogs, all the way up to dairy cattle. Dr. Bill and the rest of the crew can serve you and keep your animals and livestock healthy. Please let them work for you. 678-1177. Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn, where they have the warm hearts for the cold noses. By the way, before we take another call, and there better be another one on the way, there is. Talk about timing, I'm telling you. I want to remind you, too, that coming up on September 7th, don't miss this. Put it in great big red letters on your calendar. The Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch 31st annual production sale. Jerry's going to be on the phone with us again next week. I'm excited about this sale because they've got the best of quarter horse blood in the world right there. Sires like Plagon, Pepta Boonsmall, Bodie Boonsmall, Leo, Shining Spark, Poco, Tivio. If you're in the horse business, you want the best of bloodlines, quality, and most importantly, disposition, Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch has them. September 7th at the ranch up in Oakley, 11 o'clock starting time. Don't you miss it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. It's the Yummy Man with the menu for the Burley Senior Center today. Is roast beef with mashed taters and gravy and all the trimmings and yummy dessert. And for only $5, you can have all you can eat.
You know, Joe, you get on the program early in the morning and tell us about all that great food over there, and I know you are very supportive of it. I'm surprised you don't weigh 350 pounds.
Well, I have to guard myself a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you what, we love having you on the program. Thanks, Joe. Senior Center on Overland will send everybody over. Thank you.
Thank you. You do a great job.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you very much. Calls are welcome and appreciated. And I got to tell you, in political times, which we're in, leading up to 2020, you get a little sick and tired of all the balderdash. You get a little bit bored with all the slamming and ramming and jamming verbally of the nominees, the possible nominees against the president back to the possible nominees on the Democratic side. I saw this video, and I'm still cracked up about it. I saw this video about Bernie Sanders the other day. And on his political stumping, he was visiting a boxing gym. I can't help it. He goes into this boxing gym, old wild-haired Bernie, and he goes up to a speed bag. You know, those are the ones where you go clickety, 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 like that, boxing back and forth. And you got to really know how to run one of those things. My dad was a former boxer and was really good at it. But old Bernie takes a punch at the speed bag. One punch. And the speed bag comes back and nails him right in the nose and almost put him on the floor. Old Bernie backed up, looked at that speed bag, and he was a little shaky there for a minute. And I got to thinking, that's not a bad thought for all the rest of the Democratic nominees. Maybe visit the same gym and try the same punch. Oh, Bernie Sanders, how in the world can a guy that absolutely had a communist flag flying in his office, and he represents us, the United States of America, and then he comes out and praises, this is the part that just blew my mind, praises China for how they have treated their people. 45 million people have met their demise under the Chinese leadership of harshness, cruelty, and death. And wild-haired Bernie praises China for how they treat their people. I mean, you got to look at some of these Democrats and wonder how in the world they ever got past crackers and milk in kindergarten. Calls are welcome, 436-2244. 1-866-927-4587. Please call me. New man running the board this morning, filling in for Wheels while he is on vacation in Colorado. And that's Sean. So, caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't forget Dino's Septic Service. Oh, my. Septic tank pumping and backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed, and, of course, liquid waste removal. They do the job that you and I don't want to do. No, I'll tell you what, but they do it with a smile on their face, recently expanded, and to better serve you. Dino's Septic Service. Don't forget, numbers to call, 436-6526 or 678-1638. I mean, fast, fair, friendly service from Dino's Septic Service. We're the big truck that says, smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You just talked about Bernie Sanders and praising China for the way that they handle their people.
Yeah.
That should give a clue to anybody who thinks about voting to him what they have in their future if he actually wins.
Well, you could lump
the Democratic Party.
You're absolutely right. You could lump him and Elizabeth Warren. I got to tell you something, Riley. Yesterday, I was over at a good friend's house late in the afternoon. We were roping. And we got to talking about Elizabeth Warren. And how many times, as much as you drive around the area, have you seen at open houses or grand openings of businesses those inflatable things that they blow up and then the wind hits them and they kind of willow back and forth in the wind? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't that the epitome of Elizabeth Warren trying to jump up on stage and wave her arms? Holy cow, she looks like a human Gumby.
Well, the other ones have a little more common sense, a little more thought process, I do think myself. But I think that the whole Democratic Party's a joke. But the thing about it is we still need to be leery of them.
Oh, yeah.
Due to the fact that they thought Donald Trump was a joke.
Well,
I guess what I'm getting at is it doesn't matter what we think now; it's what's going to happen then.
You got it.
Not to let our guard down and just take it as a joke. We got to take this kind of stuff seriously. Therefore, we can try and do what we can to keep our country free and keep what we have.
I couldn't agree more. And as we draw closer, this program is going to be very, very blunt about what's happening, who's running, what their stand and platform is, and we're going to go after them. Riley, I always appreciate your call. Thank you very much.
Well, sir, you have a good day.
I will, sir. Thanks. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning. Good to have you on the program.
Good morning, Zeb.
Hello, Tony.
What about these 13 states that are going to sue Donald Trump about detention?
Yeah.
Okay, there is a solution to that, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but what I would do is take all those thousands of people, or maybe a couple million, distribute them around the 13 states that are so hepped up about doing this, and let the local taxpayers take the bill for this.
You know, I'm at a loss honestly, Tony, and you mentioned let the local taxpayers foot the bill for this. I think if you took a survey, if you took a clipboard and you went to any one of these cities that are so-called sanctuary cities, you could start in San Francisco if you'd like to. You can go to any city that claims they're a sanctuary city, and you started doing a survey of the citizens that live there, you would find that it would probably be 90% against being a sanctuary city and offering basically a hideout and a hideaway for these illegal aliens. I have talked to literally hundreds of these people that live in other areas in sanctuary cities, and they are furious because they're the taxpayers and their voices are not being listened to.
Well, that was the whole thought about what I thought about this dumping him into the cities. Many of those Democrats would be converted into patriotic, people that were into. They'd go in for being. You know what I'm talking about.
I do, but I don't think it's going to change the Democrats. Here's the situation with the Democratic Party right now. The Democratic Party is so far to the left and being pushed further off that western left edge by AOC and Ilhan Omar and others. I don't think they're at any point going to be able to recover and show any moderation whatsoever. I think they're all nuts.
Well, these congressmen and senators on the Democratic side, they took an oath to protect and serve our country instead of what they're doing is just attacking our country.
Yeah.
And that's their whole premise. That's what they're getting paid for, to attack and destroy.
This is the greatest country ever on the face of the earth. I want to say this again so that the liberals driving down the highway that have just run in the barrel pit with hate, they can sit there with their motor running. This is the greatest country ever on the face of the earth, and it will be that way if we, the people, stand up for our Constitution and our moral values. And I'm not going to weaken. This is a great, great country, and I won't allow anybody on this program to tear it down.
Well, I've been to a whole lot of countries during my service years, and boy, I'll tell you, I was glad to get back to the United States.
Let me tell you something. When I landed at JFK after being gone on my one last road trip over to Europe, I got off the airline and walked through the concourse, and I said, God, thank you so much for bringing me back home.
Well, you're right, Zeb, and you got a lot of people that are going to be fighting in your corner, and we'll just keep all the disturbances going against the Democratic Party.
I appreciate you, Tony. Go over and give that lovely bride of yours a great big kiss. Tell her I said hello, and you folks take care.
We're going to get together for breakfast.
You'd better bet on it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You bet, Tony. Thank you. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget Sophie's Chatterbox every Monday at 8:30 right here on the program. We give away a dozen cookies, delicious cookies, fantastic cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox on the Square in Rupert, 530 E Street. You be listening, answer the trivia contest, and you'll be a dozen cookies richer from Sophie's Chatterbox. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. If I can stop laughing about this thing I heard or seen on TV, it's about Trump's. This is a classic as far as I'm concerned. He called his competition the Three Stooges. And I think that is so funny and so right, don't you?
Well, Larry Moe and Curly Joe, I don't know who you're going to discern what name to whom, but I will tell you this. I don't see anybody on the Democratic ticket, and I'm talking about Biden, I'm talking about Bernie, I'm talking about Kamala Harris, I'm talking about Elizabeth Warren, and I'm talking about bug-eyed Cory Booker. I don't see anybody that could even light the candle to get them out of a dark room.
I don't either, but I'll tell you what, it will be a dark time in America if one of these Three Stooges win.
No, I couldn't agree more. It'll be the darkest time in America's history because of what they will do to completely stop, stymie, and turn around the bus that's going towards more success. They're going to run it over a cliff.
Yeah, but I've never seen anybody that could come back at somebody so quickly and win every time. That's Donald Trump.
Well, of course, he was groomed for that kind of a retort, if you will, by being a mega businessman and then also his television programs and everything. But I appreciate your calls, Keith. I got to get another commercial in, but thank you for calling back. Appreciate it. All right, sir. Hey, don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts. Now, here's the deal, folks. You're looking outside and you're going, holy smokes. It's going to be the 1st of September pretty quick, and then we're going to be into fall, then we're going to be into winter, and then the ground's going to be frozen. Whoa, we got a lot of lifting and digging and pushing and carrying to get done. Well, at Barry Equipment and Rental, they've got all the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators, and they've got all the Bobcats, and they've got super lease programs, great financing programs. What are you waiting for? Get in there and see them today. Barry Equipment and Rental, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and the Nampa location. I'm talking about the best. Barry Equipment and Rental. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to tell you that this nation of ours is going through some real negativity right now. I guess that's the best way I can say it very politely. But when you have stupid people that are in office and they contribute to more stupidity, you have to wonder why the constituents are not raising up, storming the offices and demanding that they leave office. Let me give you the example that I'm talking about this morning. You know from listening to this program that I absolutely can't stand New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. I think he's one of and for people that are offended by this, that's your problem, not mine, one of the dumbest people that ever got involved in politics. Here, he's already hurt the New York City Police Department to the point where cops on the beat are scared to death to do anything because they might be taken and hauled into court, they might lose their jobs, etc. But now, as the power waves over here, I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden our lights started to flicker. But now this simple-minded mayor is starting another problem. He wants to eliminate, curtail the school programs in New York City for gifted students. He wants to stop them, get rid of them. Why? Because according to Bill de Blasio, the world's most dumb mayor, he said it discriminates against other students. Let that soak in. Here we have gifted students that are extremely smart, A+ grades, and they have set their sights on the heavens. They've got goals, they've got careers, and these great school programs for gifted students are now going to be canceled because of absolutely asinine, underline the first couple of letters, asinine, stupid mayors like de Blasio, because they say it discriminates against other students. Why take away opportunities for bright, smart kids because of political correctness? You're killing incentives. You're killing talent. And you're killing the concept of being the best you can be with the talent that God gave you. Let the other kids, and I mean this, I have no sympathy for the others. Let the other kids try harder. Don't hold back or stop the growth of gifted students. What are your thoughts? Maybe you disagree with me. But this just amplifies my thoughts on how much I just hold in contempt dumb people like Bill de Blasio. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. That just raises my blood pressure this morning, that students that are really out there pushing hard to be successful are penalized. My goodness. Hey, don't forget the Twin Falls County Fair starts today, and with it, starting on tomorrow, the great big Magic Valley Stampede. One of the top 60 professional rodeos in the United States and now part of the PRCA Pro Tour Series. That means they're going to have the best cowboys. That means they're going to have the best cowgirls and the best buck and stock. It's going to be a ripping big event. August 29, 30, and 31. Get your tickets for the Magic Valley Stampede. All you need to do is get on the website, www.twinfallscountyfair.com. See the best in the West competing in all the rodeo events at the Magic Valley Stampede, August 29, 30, and 31. Calls are welcome. What are your thoughts on this? Stopping and impeding great school programs for gifted students. Oh, well, that's going to discriminate against the others. It's going to make the other ones feel bad. Well, then the other ones better get off their dead butt and try to progress and do better themselves. Please, let me know your thoughts. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We've lost the competitive edge in this country. We've lost competing and trying to do better. And with dummies, and he is, like Bill de Blasio, it's not going to get any better. And he's running for president? Oh, please give me an aspirin. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, Happy Lucky, but New York City. My grandson is in school system in Twin Falls. He, in the second or third grade, wanted more math problems because he was getting bored. The teacher told him, I can't do that because it would be discrimination against your classmates.
Well, then there's something wrong in River City that the parents have to address the school board, and not in a very nice fashion. They've got to go in and make demands that their student, their child, is given more of an incentive to stay there and work harder. I don't understand the philosophy of dragging down the good and the gifted students, bringing them down on the ladder. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
He's in junior high now, and there are so many kids in the advanced class, there's not room for him. He can only get in the advanced math. He can't get in advanced science or advanced literature.
Well, all I can tell you is that I admire, this is your grandson, you said, Doc, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. I admire your grandson because I can guarantee you this, and I can tell you this is factual. I would never be accepted into an advanced math class.
That was my favorite. The thing of it is, though, Seb, think about it. If there's that many in the special ed class, the advanced class, what does that mean to the rest of the class? There's more probably in the advanced class than there is in the lower class.
Yeah, but I don't care what the numbers are. I don't care if it's one student or if it's 10 out of 25 in the classroom. I just think that when we stymie and hold people that are gifted in certain areas and we stop their education basically and put a ceiling on it because we got to wait for the others to catch up, that is the dumbest approach to education I've ever heard in my life. Do you agree or not?
I agree, but think about it, though. When we were in, if there were 2 or 3 in the class that was in the advanced class, that was quite an advantage.
Yeah.
But now, that many, they can't get any more in. Think about it.
Well, I just think there's got to be some drastic changes. But when you have the mayor of the biggest city in the United States pulling any funding for gifted students, that shows you how basically stupid our government leadership is in this country.
I agree with you. But the thing of it is, look at the Common Core. Look at that. That's a farce. We ended up doing reading, writing, arithmetic, and social studies and history. what happened? What's wrong with that? Weren't we pretty well educated?
I know I was.
One was the highest score test on any of the national tests.
You know, Doc, I would say from your generation and mine, and we're pretty close to the same age, that we were blessed with teachers that really cared. And the reason that some of us didn't excel in certain classes or certain areas, you can actually put the blame on us, not the teachers, because I was blessed with excellent teachers all through my school years.
Well, I was too, but I had a few that shouldn't have been into the teaching profession.
Well, I don't want to get into various personalities or anything like that, but I'm just saying that I was blessed because all I had to do was work and try to achieve, and you can.
And you always had a goal ahead of you to be able to achieve it.
That's exactly right. That's my point.
Now they don't have that. It's, you can't do that because it's not equitable to the rest of the class.
Yeah, I know. I go back to the old saying that I've said on this program, I think 100 times, you can succeed if you try.
Right.
Doc, God bless you, man. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, God bless.
Take care. Thank you. Now, when I heard this story, I mean, it reminds me of a lot of the high schools that have stopped some of the prestigious positions that are offered at the end of the school year, and they say, "Oh no, we can't do that anymore because that might make the other kids feel bad." Who cares? That sounds blunt and cruel and harsh, but who cares? Work harder, try to achieve those positions. I mean, when talent and ability are thwarted for the others to catch up, or you don't want to do that because you might discriminate against them or make them feel bad, honestly, and I mean this seriously, who cares? The best, the cream of the crop should go to the top. Well, now that I've teed off a lot of people, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I have just a moment here waiting for your phone call, I also want to remind you about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Hello, Nick and the rest of the crew. These are good people. These are good people, and they know all the exercises, and they've got that hydrotherapy pool over there, the only one of its kind around, and they can help you with your aching and paining and your recuperation. Please call them today. Make an appointment. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. And they're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. That number's 678-1191. The best, working with and for you with Nick Greenwell and his staff, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Oh, my. Give us a call quickly, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Now, the rules for the next debate for the Democrats, I was listening to one of their people that's of the hierarchy of the Democratic Party, and they're going to tighten it up. You must have at least 2% of the polls. And you got to have pretty good campaign funding behind you if you're going to stand up on the stage at the next debate. Now, they're saying that out of the 20 that started, that's going to probably push the numbers down to 10 or maybe even fewer. All I can say to that is good. Caller, good morning quickly, and then I'll do the weather. Go ahead.
Good morning again. You know, in life, success is up to you, what you make of yourself. Like, for instance, in 1975, I opened my own dealership. And one dealer in particular said, and he told everybody, he will not last 6 months. You know, that just made me more determined that I was going to succeed, and I did.
Oh, absolutely. You don't want to wave a red flag at me and tell me I can't do something, because I'll tell you what, Keith Cottom, I'll be right in your face.
I know, and that's, and I retired. He went broke.
Yeah. I love that. No, that's a great way to wrap it up. I retired, he went broke. I love it. Keith, I got another call waiting. I'm in a hurry. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Good line right there. Caller, I'll take your call before I do the weather. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. I think that in this situation with them taking away the gifted program, it's another step into dumbing down America.
Oh, absolutely.
They're taking our guns away. They're trying to take our rights away. If you have no educated people, you have control.
What happens, quickly, caller, what would happen in your mind's eye if you were that gifted student and all of a sudden there was no more incentive, there was no more reaching for the stars, no more trying to attain goals, they were going to hold you on the ladder, and they were going to wait for the other kids to try to climb up the rungs and be with you? You would feel like, oh, what's the use? Just give up, sit down, play a video game, and watch TV. This is the most stupid thing I've ever heard of.
I agree, and there are some of us that would really upset us, and we would try harder just to show them, yeah, right. And yet there are others out there that would say, oh, maybe they're right. I can't do this. I am not smart. And there would be others that would give up. I had the same instance in high school. I had an art teacher who told me I was a waste of his time, that I should never be picking up another paintbrush or anything again in my life, that I was a waste of time. Excuse me. But that made me angry. I like to draw. I like to paint. And I've even sold some art. So,
all I can say is that maybe we had the same art teacher, because my art teacher told me not to ever mess with pottery ever again after I blew up the kiln. He invited me to take another class.
Yeah. It must have been the same one. I don't know.
Hey.
Yeah, there are kids out there that would knuckle in and give in and say, oh, there must be right because it's an adult, it's a teacher, and I don't know anything.
Yeah.
And it's wrong. It's wrong. I mean, that's where we have our Einsteins. That's where we have all of our people who have come up with cures for things and invented things, is by those gifted kids.
Absolutely. Hey, by the way, Sharon Wilmot, did you notice I got the name right today?
You did!
I tried hard. I studied all night. I was up till 1 in the morning. Listen, you're going to be running the program tomorrow. God bless you. I got to get my weather on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Woo, I'm running late, which is nothing new. I want to remind you about our friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they're right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room, and they are the best at helping you with your hearing health. Absolutely. If you find yourself missing parts of conversations or maybe not able to hear the TV or whatever's going on, don't let that linger. Get your hearing checked right now. Call for a hearing screening at 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Right now, here's the wonderful Gina with our weather.
We're looking at another warm day as we are making our way towards the Labor Day weekend. Here's your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies. High of about 93, slightly breezy winds out of the southwest at about 8 miles an hour, turning to the north-northwest in the afternoon. High of 93 tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 54. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies. However, by the afternoon, we do have a 20% chance of rain showers and thunderstorms. High of 91, mostly clear for tomorrow night with a low of 55. Looks like sunny and 88 for Friday. Back up into the 90s for your Labor Day weekend for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you very much. And let me see what the temperature is right now. I'm stuck at about 57 degrees outside. And the weather brought to you this hour by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Absolutely the best of folks that are serving you for your hearing health. They help me. All you got to do is make an appointment. Stop over and see them. 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, by the way, I wanted to throw this in. Remember yesterday on the program I was talking about Washington Post not editor, but she wrote an editorial in the Washington Post. She is a freelance writer. Jennifer Rubin. This is a dandy girl, I'm telling you. Woo! Did you see her on TV? Enough said. Anyway, Jennifer Rubin was on television yesterday, and she's got to be psychotic. She was railing and railing. I believe she was on MSNBC. And she was railing against conservatives, railing against the Republicans, saying they're not fit to live in a polite society, not fit to live. And then she said, we've got to burn them down. We've got to destroy and burn the entire Republican Party. Wow. When you hear incendiary remarks like that, you know, if a Republican, if a conservative, me, got on the air and said something like that, that almost is tantamount to saying, we've got to kill them, we've got to eliminate them, we've got to push them off the face of the earth, how long do you think I'd stay on the air? But the Democrats and the liberals and real schizophrenic people like Jennifer Rubin, they get away with it. And she was at a panel discussion when she said this on TV, and the rest of these robot liberals were nodding their head like, yeah, you're right. You know, like that wooden bird on a glass of water. Yeah, you're right. What is the matter? Now, you just think about this scenario a little bit. I pray that we see at least 4 more years of the leadership of Trump's administration, and then after that, someone will pick up the flashlight and continue on through the darkness for the Republican Party. If we let these liberals, these insane, psychotic liberals, take over our country and spend, and just absolutely destroy the premise and the values of this country, it'll never come back. It will never, ever come back. But this psycho, Jennifer Rubin, up on a national pedestal with her writing and also being invited on these news programs, saying, well, Republicans are not fit to live in public society, a polite society. Ooh, getting a little tough there, Jenny. Don't forget our major sponsor, and that's, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And, boy, they've got all the tires for you. Absolutely for all your vehicles, cars, pickups, SUVs, boat trailers, horse trailers, you name it, camp trailers. Speaking of camp trailers, my son just took off for his hunting. It seems like it's too early. But anyway, get ready and enjoy with the best of tires from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And also the best in brake service and front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. All of this, and the best of service. Absolutely. You stop in, see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland and Burley. They are the best serving you, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I got time for one more quick call. If you want to give me a jingle. And let's see, what else did I want to tell you? Oh, this is really serious, too. At the University of Texas, there are threats going out to the freshmen that are coming to Austin, Texas, at the University of Texas, that if you join a conservative group, watch out, we're going to get you. Yeah, the elite liberals on that campus at the University of Texas, are warning students that we will dox you. We will find out everything about you and release it to the public. All your past records, your medical history, everything, your phone numbers, where you live, everything. We'll dox you and we'll embarrass you and we'll just throw you to the wolves. The university and college system in America today is trash. Not all of them, but many. This is an example of the inmates running the asylum. Freshman students going to college, away from home for the first time, being threatened that if they join any conservative groups, we're gonna get you. Sick. Really sick. Coming up next hour, Dave Bego, Indianapolis, Indiana, and then up in Canada, Edmonton, Alberta, Karen Strawn, and boy, we've got a whole list of good people coming on the program this morning, and I urge you to stay tuned. Right now, I'm going to kick it back over to Sean and the main studio. He's going to play a little tune as we're getting ready to go up to CBS News, and we'll let those people come in and destroy everything we put together for the last hour. Zeb at the Ranch. I'll be back in 7. Oh boy, here we go on a Wednesday, August 28th, Zeb at the Ranch, and of course brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with the best and the safest of tires. You stop in and see them today. Also, some of our great advertisers, including Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, Sean, could we please have that good word for Western Waste Services?
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, last Thursday we had Joe from Western Waste on our program talking about all the many, 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 many ways they can serve you in getting rid of your garbage. And also, for all the farmers out there really getting into harvest, don't forget they've got all the porta potties. Very important porta potties. And all you need to do is call the number 734-6969. That number again, 734-6969. Always at your disposal, our friends at Western Waste Services. Want to remind you, too, I've hit it again earlier this morning, and I want to remind you that you put it on your calendar for September 7th, coming up in just a matter of a few days at the Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch up in Oakley at 1994 South, 100 East of Oakley. Oh, the 31st Annual Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch Production Sale. Woo! I'm talking the best quality horses. They've had 70 years of great, great quality horses up at Zollinger Ranch, and they're selling 40 lots this year with the best of bloodlines, quality, and most importantly, disposition. Don't miss it. Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch Production Sale at 11 o'clock sharp on the 7th of September. Bit my tongue, thought it'd never heal. At Zollinger Quarter Horse Ranch in Oakley. Don't miss it. You know, before we go to Dave Bego, I also want to remind you about some other dear friends of ours on this program, and that's Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, and that's with Joel Heward, his family, and his staff that are always acknowledging the solemn responsibility that they have to provide families they serve with the best possible support and comfort, and always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. The number to call, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. And remember, Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and every Wednesday I look forward to talking to this gentleman. He's a good friend, and hopefully one of these days we'll get together and crack open a bottle of wine. Good morning, Dave Bego. How are you?
I'm doing good, Zeb, but I'm thinking, I listen to your commercials and that, and I like them, and I think you ought to buy me a horse and attach a wagon to it, fill it with wine, and send it out to me. Have the horse bring it out.
Well, you have a lot of nightmare problems, don't you?
I couldn't resist. I loved your commercials.
Thank you very much. Hey, before we get into the real serious, this is serious enough, but I'm just going to make a statement, and I want to see how you feel. I really got mad this week over a circumstance that happened in your hometown with your quarterback, Andrew Luck, for the Indianapolis Colts, and the criticism and the absolute disgusting calls for almost a lynch mob because he retired because of his injuries. And I was so glad to hear and see people like Troy Aikman come to his defense. What are your thoughts?
Well, actually, in some of the local articles here, the owner of the Colts and the coach and that, they didn't really go after him either. They just wished him the best, and that was in the Indianapolis Business Journal. And you know, there's a lot of people that are upset because that's going to make it a tough year for the Colts. But you know, I'm going to be honest with you, Zeb. I think he's got other problems besides physical problems. And I was actually in a meeting talking to some people when this thing came up, and there was an agreement between us sitting there that he's got some problems psychologically that are causing this too. Mm-hmm. And you know, he just doesn't seem to be able to cope with things in that. And you know, we all hate to lose him, but the other side of it is we don't want him getting hurt again, and we don't want him to do things that could get him in trouble. So I think if that's what he wants to do, good for him. Let him go on and live life and enjoy life.
You just kind of summed up my attitude. I don't care if it's psychological or if it's physical, or a combination of the two. Evidently, he finds himself not fit to play professional football, and why would you want to put somebody out there again, whether it's psychological or whether it's just purely physical, and possibly in the first game have a very destructive force that would terminate or curtail a lot of his other life's activities?
Well, that's right, and so hopefully he moves on and things go well for him, and the Colts find a way to bring in a replacement, and they can, still have a good year.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, this next part I wanted to ask you about. I know you are a very devoted family man, and you believe in the moral fiber and values of this country. And little by little, every day, we pick up certain newspaper stories, or we hear stories on some of the more liberal slanted stations about a denigration of Christians, a denigration of patriotism, a denigration of family, etc. Dave, I'm almost to the point where I wonder if we can ever get this boat back on the right course and sail towards better things in life instead of going over a great big Niagara Falls.
Well, it is a concern, and we have to keep working at it and pushing back on the left, who is pushing all this stuff, and the unions too, because the unions they don't like our free market stuff, and they've lost cases in the past year, and Janus versus AFSCME and the communication workers versus Beck cases that have really put them in a position where they can't force unionize people and forcibly deduct dues from their paychecks and that, and they're losing a lot of money. And because of that, they are really behind what's going on in this 2020 presidential race. And I've got an article from the National Right to Work Legal Foundation that says that big labor will fight like a cornered animal to protect its multi-billion-dollar forced dues treasury, because they don't want to give it back to these people. And they've earmarked these dues dollars for electing and re-electing their hand-picked candidates like Nancy Pelosi, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So that kind of tells you where all this is coming from, because these, they have all this money that they're trying to protect. The union dues they took out of people's paychecks that they're supposed to give back, and they're not doing it, and they're using it to change America, and they're doing it through this 2020 election.
Dave, you have always been kind of a beacon on a hill taking the high road, but you have to be very concerned. You have to be very worried. You have to be very, very much looking over your shoulder as to the liberal sleaze and the cancerous growth of that sleaze in this country. I've never seen it this bad. And I referred yesterday and again today to an editorial that was written from Washington Post contributor Jennifer Rubin. This woman has to be absolutely psychotic when she said that all Republicans are not fit to live in a polite society, and the Republican Party needs to be burned down, and the Republicans need to be eradicated. Wow! I mean, if a Republican, let's say Cal Thomas, had written that in a newspaper article, where do you think he'd be working at Kmart today?
That's right, and the liberal media, of course, the Washington Post is owned by Amazon, and they're a liberal group, and they're out there pushing all this stuff too. And it's going to be a tough fight. But Zeb, and I think I've said this to you before on your show. As I talk to people, more and more, I'm finding a lot of the Democratic Party is not in line with what the far left part of the Democratic Party is, and I think this could make a big difference when we come to the election process. And but again, the other side is in this article I was telling you about, they say the unions are pushing all this money in there because they want to keep the House, win the Senate, and win the presidency, so that the far left can pass laws and that give the unions power and control, and take back some of the things that Trump has had done with the National Labor Relations Board. And that's what this is all about. And we're just going to have to wake up and continue talking to people. And like I say, even as I've talked to some younger people, millennials, who they said don't understand, I see some that are waking up to what's going on. I met a young guy last week, and he's, I think he was around 28 or 29 years old, and we were talking about this stuff, and he says, Dave, I'm on board with you. So we just got to keep working against it, Zeb, and your show is a good way to do it.
Let me ask you this. You talk about the unions and what's going on with the labor unions, the teachers' unions, etc. And I don't know if you've had a chance to read the latest in what they're demanding that they start teaching in California to the kindergarten all the way through the seniors in high school on their sex education courses. But, oh my goodness, the filth and the sleaze that's being pushed right in front of our kids in the school system. And there again, the unions. Why? Why do they want to see the denigration of moral and ethical values in this country?
Because they're trying to get in these people's heads, like the left has been doing for the last 40 or 50 years in our, school systems from kindergarten up through college, and to get them brainwashed into being liberals and Democrats and that, and they think by doing this stuff, that the kids will go, oh yeah, this is good for us. We like this kind of stuff, and this is what they do, Zeb. Like I say, I've been through the fight with them. I know how they are. They like to put stuff out there that is morally wrong and stuff that they can promise to people, and so they can get people on their side, and they do it just to get these people brainwashed.
Dave, seriously, whether you are a Trump supporter or not, look at the other side with the Democrats right now that are standing up at that podium. Start with the middle podium of Biden. He is absolutely, I think, failing in his mental capacities and also his frailties of his outward physical health. We're looking at Bernie Sanders, an avowed communist that used to fly the communist flag in his office. We're looking at Elizabeth Warren, that was once a conservative. Now she's a radical, arm-waving liberal. And then go on down the list of these podiums, Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. Who, honestly, could you possibly support as a president?
Well, that's the problem, Zeb. But, again, the unions and the far left radicals, they're all joining in on this to, get these people elected, and they're pouring all kinds of money into their coffers to get it done because, they feel like they're, in a situation where if they lose, they're done. And so they're going to, like it says in this article, they're going to fight like a cornered animal to protect its multi-billion-dollar forced dues treasury.
Okay, but where are we headed? Let's just talk about that. A lot of people on radio and TV don't want to mention this because it absolutely leads to one word, and that's chaos. But assuming that Donald Trump is reelected for another 4 years, wow. Can you see the lead into that movie?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but and Zeb, I've talked about this, and I was actually talking to a guy on the phone yesterday about the, and I can't tell you exactly what's going on, but there's going to be a program here in Indianapolis, and we're talking about the media, and unfortunately, the media is controlled behind the scenes by the far left and the unions, and they're going to continue to throw this stuff out here, and unfortunately, a lot in Hollywood is also being controlled by that, and they're going to throw a lot of stuff out there to really scandalize and make Trump look bad, and the Republican Party and everything. At the end of the day, Zeb, people got to understand. Desperate people do desperate things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would imagine that through your career, an outstanding career as a businessman and an author, that you always look for the people that can add the most to your company, the people that are shining stars, the people that want to reach up and always try to get the top rung of the ladder and keep going higher for success. That being said, when you hear about dumb, and he is dumb, I'm not going to back up on my words, Mayor Bill de Blasio of New York canceling the funding for school programs for gifted students because they're afraid that it might discriminate against the others, you got to wonder how absolutely dumb our society is becoming.
Well, I agree with you, and, here's the other thing about him. He's out there really pushing for religious ideas and stuff like that. And behind the scenes, he's actually criticized religion at times. And of course, he's married to another man and stuff like that. So his again, and this is what people got to watch about these people. It's the same thing I saw about the SIU. Watch what they do. Pay attention to what they do, not what they say.
No, I agree with that. But, I think our education system has got to make more allowances right now, this minute, going into the new school year, of those students that absolutely just say, that's not enough. I want to learn more. I want to achieve more. I want to try to grasp the top brass rail instead of holding them back for fear that it might hurt little Johnny and Susie's feelings. This is asinine.
Yeah, it's all their idea of being politically correct. You know that, and that's what they throw out there all the time. But what they do is for them. They don't really care about the kids and the people in this country. It's all about them because at the end of the day, Zeb, they really don't know how to operate and be successful in a free market society.
I got to ask you that, did you happen to see the news video of Bernie Sanders visiting a boxing gym yesterday?
No, I didn't see that.
Well, let me share it with you, Mr. Bigo, in your mind's eye. Close your eyes, and if you're driving, keep one open. But Bernie Sanders goes to a boxing gym and walks up to a speed bag and decides to take a punch at said speed bag. But Bernie, not being real smart on how a speed bag operates, was standing a little close, and the speed bag come back and nailed him in the nose and almost knocked the teetering old man over.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I can kind of visualize that. It's somebody trying to do something that he can't do.
Well, and the reason I said old man, he is older than Joe Biden. and we're looking at Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders, and then collectively the top three with Elizabeth Warren. And my fear is our nation right now, when they come out with these polls, whether they're fictitious or not, showing, any one of these three, according to this poll, they're ahead of Donald Trump. My goodness, what is motivating the American public to want to even think about putting these people in office?
Well, Zeb, and I'm not a big poll person. You look at these polls and you got to step back and say, okay, who are they really talking to? And are they really going out and get an expanded audience on both sides in that? And I believe in generality, most they go out and they talk to people they know are going to give them the answers they want.
I agree with that. One quick thing I wanted to mention to you and get your response. Didn't you find it a little interesting when the news came out yesterday that the Democrats were organizing and planning for Trump's impeachment before the Mueller report was finalized? They knew it was going to come out negative against Trump, and it did not. And yet these Democrats that were planning all this ever since 2016, basically, now they're trying to start their own proceedings all over again with subpoenas and start this whole thing again. They're like a pack of rabid dogs.
Yes, they are. And I'll go back to what I said before. Desperate people are going to do desperate things. And I think the far left is desperate, and the unions are desperate, and Zeb, it's going to get worse heading up to the election, especially as we get closer to it.
Absolutely. Well, I certainly hope and pray that all is well back in Indianapolis, and you, of course, add a lot of sanity to our program by coming on and giving us your approach to various political stories. Thank you, my dear friend Dave Bego, back in Indianapolis. I hope you have a wonderful week.
Well, you too, and a wonderful Labor Day.
I will. And you know what? I'm glad you said that. I want to extend to you and your company and all the people that work for you just a really nice holiday. Drive safe and be safe. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, and you too, Zeb.
All right, buddy. Thank you much. A friend right there, Dave Bego. I'm so glad to have him be a part of my program every Wednesday. Thank you very much. Hey, by the way, beautification and comfortization. I love saying that. I love those words. Beautification and comfortization of your home. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. 459 Overland in Burley. Now, listen here, they've got all the mattresses for a good night's sleep. And all the recliners. As a matter of fact, I think that Lee's Furniture has one of the largest selections of recliners I've ever seen anywhere. And you get in there and try one on that fits you. And all the floor coverings and all the carpeting and all the furniture in general. Wow, these people are really into the beautification and comfortization of your home. Stop in and see them today. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more at 459 Overland in Burley. Jeff and the crew, really, really good people. By the by, a lot of great weather left in this great year, 2019, I'm sure, and time for you to get away from the office, get away from the ranch, get away from everything and get on a side-by-side or a four-wheeler and head up in the hills and enjoy. Absolutely. Let's ride 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They are open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4, and they've got all the fun right there on their showroom floor. You better believe it. And the 2020 models are coming in right now. And what does that mean? What does that mean to you? Well, you can save a bunch of money on the 2019 models. Absolutely. So get in there today and check out all the accessories. And they've got a super service department to keep you running. Really good people. Let's ride 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. As I said, tomorrow I have hired my dear friend Sharon Wilmot to take over the program tomorrow, and she's going to be on. We're going to alternate every other Thursday, and it gives me a little time to spend with my wife and taking care of some of the chores that we've got to do during the work week. And I know some other folks that are there every day to serve you for your life insurance, health insurance, and retirement planning, and I'm talking about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Now, so easy. All you have to do to make sure that you're covered, you, your family, and your business are covered, is call them at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. They are thoughtful and caring and very devoted to serving you. Remember the name. Give them a call. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Number 436-4424. All righty, folks, we're going to go right now, as soon as I pick up all the papers that I just knocked all over my desk, to the phone line. And we have a wonderful lady that's been on my program before. She is a spokesperson for Men's Rights Edmonton. Karen Strawn, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Not too bad. What's the weather like in Edmonton, Alberta right now?
Oh, it's just been absolutely miserable almost all summer. Since mid-June, it's been cold and rainy, and it rained almost every day since mid-June. So the mosquitoes are out in droves. The ice cream truck hasn't come around in months because none of the kids are outside because either it's too cold and wet or they get eaten alive. So it's just been miserable here. The last couple of days, we've seen a little bit of a return to what you might describe as mild June weather. Leaves are already turning yellow on the trees, and I am disappointed.
Oh my goodness! You better move to Idaho, my dear, because right now we're at about 61 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, and it's beautiful.
Oh, I miss the sun. I really do.
Karen, what is going on? You're always entertaining and very thought-provoking when I have you on the program. But what's going on with, and I think I'll just term it, men's and women's sexuality and politics, government, everything? Are they all intertwined today?
Oh, I think so. I think, human sexuality is, a lot of people kind of scoff at the idea that, sex really has anything to do with, all kinds of other behaviors. But it's sort of an undercurrent through everything. And that's not because people want sex all the time or they're consciously motivated by sex. It's just that we're the products of evolution, and evolution was all about who had sex and who didn't, right? So we're the products of people who engaged in successful strategies in order to reproduce, to pass on their genes. And so we carry all of that sort of historical baggage within certain innate behaviors and innate motivations that we have. So yeah, of course it's going to be part of politics. It's going to be a facet of everything in our lives, is, the way we view men and women and the things that we care about, things that we're motivated to keep the same and also motivated to change. So definitely. Yeah.
Well, I read a headline that was on one of the info sheets to get you on the program, and I'll read the headline, and boy, do I want you to explain this to me. A writer claims that women are opting out of heterosexuality because it represents global oppression. Okay, Karen, my dear friend, open up the book and teach little Johnny, because I haven't a clue what you're talking about.
Oh, well, women's sexuality is a little bit more fluid than men's sexuality, so the sexual orientation-wise. You think back to Katy Perry's hit song, I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It, I Hope My Boyfriend Didn't Mind It, that kind of thing. But when it comes to what this woman, Marcy Bianco, was arguing, and this was on NBC News, it's an opinion piece. Thank God they didn't put it under news. In particular, she presents this idea that heterosexuality as
as a natural thing is in itself a social construct. So literally she's describing human beings as the only species on the planet that has differentiated gametes where heterosexuality is not natural, right? So every other species out there that has males and females and ova and sperm, right, they all practice heterosexuality as a rule because that's natural for them, and yet for us humans it's apparently a social construct that was invented by men in order to engage in patriarchal oppression of women. So she's really out there. She's I think, honestly, anybody espousing these kinds of ideas or holding any kind of truck with them would, I would suggest that they're delusional, possibly even completely insane. And she's arguing that it would or should disappear in a society that's entirely free, and I'm sorry, that's never going to happen. We are, every one of us, straight or otherwise, here as a result of a heterosexual act.
That's right.
We're not going to get rid of it. Getting rid of it means getting rid of people. But she makes some further claims that are just bizarre to me. I mean, she's living in upside down land. She claimed that, and I'm going to quote her here, that men absconding from responsibility is the quintessential strategy of the patriarchy. And that's so backwards, back to front, that I don't even know what to do with it. You look at all patriarchal societies, whether you want to describe them as patriarchal societies, all societies that have sort of male political dominance and economic dominance and sort of all of those things that feminists decry as patriarchal. Marriage is a fundamental building block of every one of those societies, and the primary function of marriage has always been to hold men responsible for the products of their own sexuality. So hold men responsible for children and for the female partners who help bring those children into being. That's what the marriage contract is all about. That's what the function of marriage has always been about, is holding men responsible, not helping them abscond from responsibility. And the reason I know this is because that part of the contract, right, supporting children and their mothers, that contract is enforced now. Like when we decided to flush marriage down the toilet because it was oppressive to women and it was domestic servitude and a form of slavery almost, and all of these things, when we decided to just get rid of it, what are the things that we kept? We didn't keep the woman's the injunction on women to obey their husbands. We didn't keep the injunction on women to provide domestic services, to cook, to clean, to provide their husbands a sex life, to provide their husbands a relationship with their children. We threw all of that away. When a marriage ends, or even when there is no marriage, we still hold men to that part of the marital contract. You must support these children and their mother. And we've invented all kinds of new legal and bureaucratic mechanisms in order to do that. So that's the only part of marriage we refuse to let go. I would suggest that that was the primary purpose of marriage in the first place. So.
Karen, I am not going to be as eloquent as you are in explaining this by any means, but I will just make a statement. You can tell me I'm all wet, or you can tell me I'm right. But in my opinion, I'm an old man. I'm 71 years old. And in the last 35 years, I am shocked as to a growing cancer, I'll call it a cancer, in our society that is absolutely hell-bent to wreck socially accepted norms and destroy everything that we thought when we were raised as little kids were good and attainable. Am I wrong?
Oh, no, you're not wrong. And, one of the biggest hypocrisies in this article is she describes, men absconding from responsibility as a patriarchal norm, when, we've always had shotgun weddings. We've always had, go all the way back to the Bible and, the contentious verse, when you catch the children, the young ones, fooling around in the hayloft, right? He has to pay some compensation to her father for doing that. But this is not describing a rape. the verses on rape are take him out and cut his head off or stone him to death. But this is about young people being caught in the act of consensual but non-sanctioned extramarital or premarital sex. He has to pay compensation to her father, and he has to marry her, and he's not allowed to divorce her for the rest of his life. Right? So we have this very, very, we're holding men responsible for their sexual behavior thing all the way back to the Bible. But it's in feminist cultures that we see this growing phenomenon of sexual irresponsibility in both sexes. I mean, it's resulting in dads who, biological fathers who can't or won't take responsibility for their kids. It's resulted in millions of aborted fetuses, and it's given us a welfare state that prioritizes the reproductive choices of women over the well-being of their own children. So when we look at, how fatherlessness affects children of both sexes, but in particular boys, there's extremely deleterious effects. Sometimes, orders of magnitude risk factors, higher risk factors for things like running away or getting involved with gangs or ending up in prison. Something like 80% of the inmates in the U.S. prisons right now did not have a father consistently in the home. Right?
Go ahead, Karen. That's a caller waiting to come on. Go ahead and finish your comment. Thank you.
Well, I mean, that's really that's the gist of everything that I'm saying. It's what she's describing, right? This sort of irresponsibility, particularly on the part of males, to step up and fulfill your role and do the responsible thing. That's a product of the sexual revolution, which was heavily pushed by feminists. So,
absolutely.
I mean, she's got everything completely backwards. So.
We have a caller with a question. Caller, quickly, please. You're on the air. Thank you.
Well, earlier you said, something about evolution. I was just curious, are you a Christian, and do you believe that we were created, or do you believe in evolution? And then, of course, as we turn away from God and the structure, the family structure breaks down, when does all this insanity get better? And how does it get better? And it better get better quick, or we're going to lose our society. And America is not like Canada. Socially, you guys are down the road farther than us. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, please, if you would, Karen.
Oh, yeah, Canada is definitely further down this rabbit hole than you guys are down in the U.S., but, English-speaking countries always follow each other's leads, that seems like a good idea, let's do it here, and there are all kinds of unintended consequences, I am not a Christian, I'm not religious at all, I'm agnostic, but I do value religion in terms of the kind of it acts as a social glue, and it really helps give communities from everything from your local community to your national community a sense of common purpose and a list of rules to live by that are generally time tested. They generally
That's
work.
Right.
So. I absolutely am a big fan of not getting rid of religion, of not getting rid of Christianity in particular. But I don't see it getting better until it gets worse. This is one of the biggest fears that I have, is that depending on how much worse it gets before it starts getting better, if we lose our current technological infrastructure in terms of extracting resources and all of those things, all the easy oil and coal is gone. And we need the technology and the infrastructure that we have right now, all of that equipment and the ability to produce it and run it, to get at what's left. And so if we actually have a collapse that is, sort of on par with the sacking of Rome or something like that, we're in big trouble. We're never going to get back where we are. We won't be putting men on the moon or colonizing Mars or even having light switches where the lights come on when you flip them. So it's of a real concern to me. I mean, I'm sort of extrapolating decades into the future, but it worries me. I hope I'm dead before it happens, is all I'm saying.
Well, being that I'm on the other side of the spectrum from you, Karen, as far as I'm a very strong Christian, and I believe in the biblical prophecies and the statements the Bible says for us to live a better life, and it's created a better life for me. I want to tie the next question into that as far as the millennials. Now, I'm not naming all millennials in this as a blanket statement, but when you look at the millennial generation and you look at what's going on with a lack of responsibility, a lack of caring, a lack of really wanting to try to climb to the top rung on the ladder, you must be very worried, like I am, about society in general falling into, like you said earlier, a toilet.
Oh, yeah, no, and I mean, what concerns me, too, is when you have a society that's sort of in decline and its citizens stop caring and stop trying to progress and improve it and keep it going, keep it functioning, you end up with other cultures coming in and bulldozing them over, essentially, right? And so we have this sort of, nobody, I think, wants in America would like to live under China's social credit system. I mean, we all watched the Black Mirror episode that's based on that, where you're constantly being watched, and if you jaywalk or spit your gum out on the sidewalk or something like that, you lose points, and if you lose enough points, you're going to not be able to get a train ticket or check into a hotel or things like that, right? I mean, just absolutely draconian system. But when you actually look at the Chinese people and what the majority of them say about it, they're all saying, and probably because they have to, but there is a kind of strength to creating a hive out of a society, where all society's members are behaving the same way toward a common purpose, right? It might not be great for the individual, but it's really great for that society's ability to gain strength, gaining economic dominance, military dominance, all of those things, and then crush everything around them. So we're looking at, these two separate approaches, the individualistic, I'm not responsible for anyone but myself, I'm a free agent kind of approach that the millennial generation in particular has ascribed to. And therefore I'm only going to do the bare minimum that's adequate for me. And then you have, when we come up, if this continues, if we come up against China once it, sort of uses its social credit system to develop itself into a dominant force in the world, we're going to have a problem.
Absolutely. You mentioned China, and I'm sure you follow the political stance of various individuals here in the United States. And Bernie Sanders, an avowed communist for years, socialist, and had the communist flag flying in his office for many, many years, just recently came out and praised China for how they treat their people. Evidently, Bernie hasn't studied history to the point where there's been an estimated demise and death of over 45 million people because of Chinese government control, and it makes you wonder how dumb people are that are running for political office.
Well, it really does, and I think that people they make an unnecessary distinction between communism and fascism. I think that the best way to differentiate the two is to say, okay, so communism sees society as an organism, and individuals are merely cells in that organism, and each individual is supposed to subordinate its own interests in favor of the interests of the other cells, right? Whereas all of that is the same, except it's not the other cells, it's the organism itself, right? So, I mean, they're very, very similar. And one of the horrific things about it is you end up with a population that's equally miserable in both cases. So I think that honestly, we need to find some kind of happy medium between, you know, I owe nobody else, I owe nobody anything other than, you know, myself, and that kind of, you must subordinate your interests to the state or to the proletariat or to the dear leader, all of those things, right, that happen to, you know, be places where nobody's climbing over walls to get into those places.
That's right.
Right? They're all climbing over walls and illegally crossing borders and overstaying their visas in order to live in the United States. So, yeah, Bernie Sanders, I don't know, like, the one thing I will say for him is he seems sincere. He seems to sincerely believe in what he says. He doesn't seem like a liar to me. And but what he believes is completely insane and unworkable.
Absolutely. You know, Karen, I wish we had more time. I always look forward to having you come on for a good conversation, and I want to thank you. The lady is a spokesperson for men's rights in Edmonton, Alberta, and her name, Karen Strong. Please come back in the near future. I'd look forward to it.
All right, I will do. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Karen Strong, and we'll have her back, believe me. Oh, my, and I'm running a little bit late here. I've got to get a weather forecast on. Oh, yeah, the weather's brought to you by Phillips Oakes Goodwin Crane and Company. And they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. Absolutely. Tax return preparation at its best. Tax planning, bookkeeping services, retirement planning, all of this and so much more. And they can really help people starting a business or a partnership or business owners wanting to hire and expand their employees, etc. Please get a hold of them today and let them help you. Phillips Oakes Goodwin Crane and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're looking at another warm day as we are making our way towards the Labor Day weekend. Here's your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies. High of about 93, slightly breezy winds out of the southwest at about 8 miles an hour, turning to the north-northwest in the afternoon. High of 93 tonight, mostly clear skies with a low of 54. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies. However, by the afternoon, we do have a 20% chance of rain showers and thunderstorms. High of 91, mostly clear for tomorrow night with a low of 55. Looks like sunny and 88 for Friday. Back up into the 90s for your Labor Day weekend for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you. And again, our weather brought to you this hour by the professionals that are serving you. Absolutely with the best of accounting services. Phillips Oakes Goodwin Crane and Company. Please, I urge you to give them a call. Make an appointment. They have offices at 1710 Overland in Burley and 620 5th Street in Rupert. Work with the best to help you. Phillips Oakes Goodwin Crane and Company. Now, normally on Thursdays, we have Starving to Death, but I said tomorrow Sharon Wilmot is going to be taking over the program, and I said I'd take over some of the load of tomorrow's log and have these great people on my program today. And so we're going to right now tell you that if you're making plans for lunch, and if you're hungry right now and starving to death, I know some great places for you to go. Listen up and don't put teeth marks in your steering wheel. How about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley? Oh, they've got all the different flavored shakes. They've got all the delicious burgers. And they've got the best doggone French fries and special sauce. They got the famous Farmer Brown burger. Oh, my! You better get in there today. AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. Well, let's move on over to Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Great place to get together for your morning coffee. And with that coffee, how about a delicious, knock your boots off, great breakfast burrito, scrambled eggs, bacon and sausage, cheese, onions, tomatoes, and sauce on a tortilla shell. Woo! Look out. Good day. Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Move over now to not one, I'm drooling. I'm so hungry. Not one, but two great locations of Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. They've got the strawberry shakes, and they've got all the corn dogs and the burritos, only $1.39 after 3 p.m. in the afternoon. What? You are really going to enjoy that. Great food and really nice people at two great locations of Burgers Etc. Rupert and Burley. Stop in and see them today. And last but not least, in our Starving to Death segment, how about Steve-O's at 290 South 600 west of Heyburn? Food made the way you love it. Hey, the patio's open, great weather, music on the weekends, delicious buffalo burgers, cheesy broccoli spuds, all the cupcakes, great menu choices. What else do you want? It's all there at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Heyburn. Food made the way you like it. And those are just a few great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. I am. I really am. Deanna and I have been going so hard lately, we haven't had a chance to hardly sit down and just enjoy a really good meal. All right, what have we got coming up the rest of the hour? Well, next hour, we're going to talk to my good friend back in Boston, Massachusetts. Gary Goldman's going to be on the phone. And then at 10:30, we'll have the lovely Brigitte Gabriel with Act for America coming on the program. I don't think you ought to miss that at all. You better be there and be sure and listen in. It's going to be really interesting. One quick note, wanted to remind you again about the 4th Annual Patriotic Show and Shine, standing for the red, white, and blue on the Rupert Square, and it's going to be Patriots Day, Friday, September 13th, the car show, Saturday, September 14th, 1st Annual Combat Veterans Memorial Ride, and George Mass, my buddy George, is absolutely heading things up and putting it all together. So it's free to the public, don't forget, in Rupert on September 13th and 14th. News next from CBS. I'll be back in 7. Okay, here we go. Hour number 3, Zeb at the Ranch, and of course brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of safe driving tires. You stop in and see them before you take off on your Labor Day road trip, okay? And also, don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Before we go to our guest, I also want to remind you about our friends at Patterson's. Oh, they are your electronics headquarters. Where are they? Thought you'd never ask. 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis and Lorena and the rest of the staff serving you. Telephone number to call, write this down, 678-6997. They've got all your electronic needs, all your home theater systems, video surveillance cameras, car stereos and speakers, complete sound systems, all the TVs, put your feet back and enjoy. Samsung, Sony, Toshiba, LG TVs. All of this available to you Monday through Saturdays, 9 to 6 at Patterson's, 421 East Main in Burley. You stop in and see them today. By the way, tomorrow night, the first perf of the Magic Valley Stampede at the Twin Falls County Fair. Oh, this is going to be one of the top 60 professional rodeos in the country, and it's now part also of the PRCA Pro Tour Series. That means you're going to be watching the best cowboys, best cowgirls, and the greatest of bucking stock at the Magic Valley Stampede, August 29, 30, and 31 at the Twin Falls County Fairgrounds. Tickets available right now at www.twinfallscountyfair.com. Don't forget, at the Twin Falls County Fair, the Magic Valley Stampede. Right now, I got a guy on the program that is one of my favorite guests to talk to, and we've kind of called this segment the man from Beantown and the cowboy back in Boston, Massachusetts. Good morning, Gary Goldman. How are you?
Deb, how are you doing? I'm doing wonderful, and thanks for having me on.
Are you having a good summer, my friend?
Yeah, we're having a good summer. Look, the weather's been great. A little rainy at the beginning, but it's been good. It's kind of sad to see it coming to an end, but yeah, it was a very good summer.
One of the things I have always promised myself, and I've never been able to do it because I've been back on the East Coast many, many times in June, July, and August. I've never been back on the East Coast to see your beautiful fall foliage. I bet it's absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, that's something you have to do. Fall's my favorite time of the year, and, in the Boston area, and if you even take a little drive outside of the city itself and head north, you will see some spectacular foliage.
Is there any truth to the rumor that I've heard that you are going to be the campaign manager for Joe Walsh?
I wouldn't count on it. Good old Joe, I'm not sure he would want me as his campaign manager because I'd be spewing the truth about Joe.
What is this guy? Come on, Gary, you've always been a straight shooter on my program. Joe Walsh, I mean, what is he doing? What does he think he can do other than be a pimple on an elephant's you-know-what?
Yeah, I think Joe is hoping that somewhere along the line there's going to be a payday, a reality TV show, or some sort of book deal for him. I'm not sure how that will come to fruition, but, he's an interesting guy, Zeb, because he talks about his slogan, be brave, and I've said this over and over. The people that are brave is, one, Donald Trump, two, those that support him, because we're the ones that are assaulted. We can't put bumper stickers on our cars. We can't wear a red hat. You can't do anything if you're a Trump supporter because you're going to be assaulted or something's going to happen to you. Those are the real brave people. He's not brave by jumping in and telling us that he's going to save, the Republican Party. From what? Tell me what your platform is. He's going to save us from Donald Trump? I don't think we need him to save us from Donald Trump. Donald Trump is doing, in my opinion, a wonderful job, a great job as president. He's accomplishing a lot. He's doing what he's promised, and that is driving people crazy. What he's doing is doing for the people, not for the political side of it, not for a political party. He's out to help the country and help the American people. And for some crazy reasons, there's people that just can't deal with that.
Yeah. Well, this Joe Walsh, I know a member of the U.S. House of Representatives from Illinois, but what happened to put a burr under his saddle blanket and go after President Trump like he is?
I think he's an opportunist. I think he's, I've tried to look at that angle a number of different times and look for information to the president, say something about him, or do something to him that were to set him off. No, I don't believe that's it at all. I really think he is out there looking for a payday. I know I don't want to be repetitive, but I think he thinks by doing this, you look at the world today and the players out there. Everybody says outrageous things and does outrageous things, hoping that, in many cases that's going to be some financial gain for them. And I really believe that's what this is all about. He barely won his election the first time. He lost it the second time, even with raising incredible amounts of money. He's been accused by his ex-wife of not paying child support. It's alleged that he has some student loans and, legal bills to pay. So who knows what the real motivation is.
But when you look at this guy, what is his platform? Like you talked about it just a moment ago. What does he say that he can do over and above Trump as far as the economy? What can he do better than Trump on trade negotiations? What can he do better than Trump as far as lining out a course for North Korea to adhere to, or China for that matter too? I mean, what is the guy? I mean, what kind of smoke is he blowing?
Yeah, well, that's why he doesn't talk about what his platform is, because when you have a 90-something, 92% approval rating by Republicans, it's going to be very difficult to improve on that. And the president is tackling a number of different issues on a daily basis, and I don't think this individual, Joe Walsh, would even know where to start. Based on his own, you sort of judge people on the success of their private life. I don't know how successful he's been, but some of the things that I've read leads me to believe he has some problems, some issues. So here's a guy that it looks like he can't take care of certain things, wants to take over the country, and thinks he can do a better job than President Trump. No, this is just those that still believe that they have one hatred for the president. I'm not sure why he turned on the president, except if it's for some, gain financially. And they still, in the back of their mind, think there are those out there that do not believe the president, that still believe he still has some involvement in this Russian collusion deal. Because one of the things that really infuriated him was the time he stood with Putin and, said, "This is my guy," or whatever the president said. And look at, I look at that comment and I say, here's a president that is being attacked by everyone within his country. False allegations are being made against him that he was involved with Russia with nothing to back it up, and they're taking that out of context. So, look, he's just in there for some headlines. I think the same as Bill Weld. I say this all the time. Somebody better wake former Governor Weld up here from Massachusetts and tell him it's time to start, running for president against the current president, if that's what you plan on doing, and anyone else who thinks they're going to challenge this president. They're not going anywhere. I'm not sure past history will play its role, where anyone who has challenged an incumbent president, as that president has lost. I think President Trump is just a different character, a different candidate, and he's going to go on to win, and he's going to win big, because I think there are many independents and Democrats out there that are going to vote for the president but will never admit it.
Gary, I have never, and I'm probably older than you, but I have never in my life seen our country get down in the gutter like it is right now. And when you talk about people that are lending to this guttural stance that we have in America, I'm talking about people like Jennifer Rubin, that writes for the Washington Post, saying that all Republicans should be destroyed and all Republicans should not fit into a polite society. Burn them down, eradicate them. Gary, can you imagine if someone like conservative Cal Thomas would have written something like that in a newspaper article?
No, look at, they'd want him put in jail. He'd be a danger to society. These are people, you got to remember, we're at a time now when people are hoping that the country goes into a recession because they dislike the president. Forget about your love or hate for the president. You're first an American, and you should be concerned about the country from everyone's perspective. But I never thought I'd see a time when people were hoping that we go into recession. We have a great economy, low unemployment. People are working, jobs are coming back. People are making, decent wages again. And they want a recession. They want the hurt and harm of a recession just to get back at a president. These are the same people that want to come with pitchforks to the homes of anyone that supports President Trump. There is something wrong in this country. You and I have talked about this, that has to be repaired before we move forward. No matter whom becomes president, this whole mindset has to change, because it's dangerous. And, at some point, and my fear is going into this election cycle, we're going to see a lot of violence because of this type of mindset.
I agree with you. We have a caller with a question and a comment. Go ahead, caller. Quickly, you're on the air.
Well, how is it that people, you're from Massachusetts, that's what you said. How is it that people even, vote for any of these people? I don't even know how the people of Massachusetts vote for who they vote for. I wonder what they're thinking about. I can't imagine how anybody in their right mind doesn't see the reality of what this president has done. Now, the left, in his sake in his seeking power, will stop at nothing to destroy him, including hope that there is a recession. And it's amazing to me that the people in this country can be so misled, willfully ignorant, whatever you call it, stupid, whatever. It's amazing to me. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, please, Gary, if you would.
Well, look, at Massachusetts, you're dealing with a one-party system here. Whatever the Democrats say or do is what the people go with. I will tell you, I think there's a silent majority that are Trump supporters that have had enough because the party has gone too far to the left. But look at our governor, who's the fifth best governor in the country. He's quote unquote a Republican by trademark only, as far as I'm concerned. He falls right with the Democrats. Massachusetts is a funny state. You really can't go by what goes on in the state, but they've drunk the Kool-Aid from the Kennedys on and on for years, and the John Kerrys, and they just can't get out of that realm. But the divide in this country, and you get a guy like Biden who's trying to push the racial divide again. Very dangerous, Seb. And the bottom line, it's not going to do anybody, either side, any good over time. That's not how you heal a country.
Gary, where are we today? And when I say that, I'll preface it by asking you this. You are closer to this on the East Coast than I am, and you hear more rumblings and tremblings as to what's going on politically. What about Joe Biden? What about Elizabeth Warren? What about wild-haired Bernie? What about the Democratic Party? What about the Squad? What is going on there that people are following? Like my caller said a few minutes ago, why are people following this insanity?
Well, part of it is, and I hate to use the word stupid, but we've dumbed down too many people. They believe what they hear on the mainstream media or on social media. You have to do your own investigation to understand that what you're hearing is not what's going to take place. The promises are merely promises. Most of them will not come to fruition, and if they do, they'll be in a negative manner. But, look at Elizabeth Warren, local brand to Massachusetts here, lied about her heritage, doubled down on that lie. Whenever she talks, it's a lie, Zeb. She jumps the question. She will never answer the question. But the Boston Globe and the New York Times, which wrote her off earlier in the year, are now starting to push her back up. And I'm trying to figure out why. There is no way Elizabeth Warren is going to make it through a series of debates with Donald Trump, because he will be, he will force the truth out of her one way or another. But look at whether it's Bernie, whether it's Sanders, people want to believe what they want to believe. And unfortunately, the mainstream media, the news media, and social media have done a great job marketing a certain mindset, and people are buying into it. People have to stop and understand. Look, you don't have to like President Trump, but at least look at some of the things that he's done, and don't tell me he hasn't succeeded at anything. There's no way that any right-minded person could say that the president hasn't succeeded. I read a couple of articles yesterday locally talking about how, again, this economy is not President Trump's. I don't know how anybody can say it's Barack Obama's economy. He's a guy that never said we'd see 3% growth again. High unemployment. Businesses were not spending their money and expanding. So, they've taken a hatred for the president to an all-new level, and the hatred that they've developed is hurting this country, because it should be America first, as we said.
Gary, when you look at the candidates on the Democratic ticket, start with Joe Biden and work your way down to Elizabeth Warren and Bernie and anybody else that's an also-ran, who do you fear the most in a campaign of lies and progressivism that would absolutely maybe tip the apple cart over?
I think we still, and I think you and I have talked about this. I think I'm still very concerned about Elizabeth Warren, because there are people. When I listen to people in the state of Massachusetts and even other parts of the country, when I talk to them, that will vote for Elizabeth Warren because she would be the first woman running for president. That scares me, and she, for some reason, has this ability to change the truth, stretch the truth. She's the 1% that she's talking about, but she's mesmerized people to believe that she's not, and that she's really out there to help them. And I think we really have to watch Warren. Though again, I think any debate with this president, any of the candidates that are in line right now, would have a difficult time. What's sad is what the left is missing. They've had some middle of the road candidates that have either stepped away or decided not to run at all, because that far left progressive movement will not let them into the quote-unquote into the party unless they adopt their ways. And I think in the long run, the Democrats are going to pay a mighty price for that.
When you say that, pay a mighty price for that, you lead me right into the next question I had from you, and I think you're the most qualified to answer it. When the Democratic National Convention starts, in front of all the TV cameras and all the hoopla, do you feel that the Squad with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Omar and the rest of them are going to be such a divisive source at the convention that the whole thing could blow up in everyone's face?
You ain't seen nothing yet, believe me. And I think I'm a little concerned that AOC and the Squad have quieted down a bit, but when that convention rolls around, they're going to be in for the light, and they're going to be there to push their movement. I don't care what they tell Speaker Pelosi. If they're invited to speak at this convention, they're going to go all out against the the Democratic Party to push it as far to the left as they can, and that's why I think they're going to pay a price. They're not going to tame their tone now. That would be a surrender at that point, because many of them I'm not sure all of that squad's going to be reelected the next time around, but they surely want to make their mark, and the only way they're going to do it, what better than a national convention, a platform to make your part. The party's divided. The party is out of control. I don't think Speaker Pelosi has control of this party. I think there's a bit of a hush now, but I think it's tentative, and I think you're going to see them go after the party itself, never mind President Trump. And it will be interesting, and I'm hoping that at some point, relatively soon, we see some indictments come along, for what went on with the president, with the Russian collusion, all of that whole mess. And that will, I think, spur their fire even more, because they'll just look at it as a means for the Republicans and this president to convince the American people that he should be reelected, because, the poor Democrats did this when we know what they've done. But I think we've only seen the beginning of them. I think they're saving it till the end. Because let's face it, I think a few of them are. I know AOC is going to have some challenges. I've been reading about some of the people that may challenge her, and her approval rating in her district is not that well. It doesn't matter what it is in California or here in Massachusetts or other parts of the country. It's her district. She let her people down, starting with the Amazon deal.
Gary, all of this conversation leads me to say this to kind of wrap up things for this segment, that we're talking about a society that could be confronted in the not-too-distant future with complete societal chaos. And I don't see anybody trying to put their thumb down and saying enough is enough on the Democratic side of the aisle. Like you said, Pelosi has no power, and this squad trying to disrupt things. Really, if this thing evolves into a complete chaotic situation, how is it going to be stopped?
No, I don't think it can stop. And you know what, Zeb, I think the Republicans need to be out there being the ones with the cooler mind now. Look, the president is 94% within his party. But those in the House and Senate need to be out there more working with the president, talking the president up, and talking about the positive things that are happening. I'm at awe as why we don't see more of that. If this was the Democrats in office as president now, they would be out there. They did it with Barack Obama. He really had nothing to run against the second time, but they made him sound like he was the best president in 100 years. So we really have to we have to wonder also why the Republicans aren't out, at least quelling some of this, because the only thing those on the left are going to do is stir things up. And I think anybody middle, on the left, middle or slightly to the left, they're going to stand back because they don't want to be, those that want any chance at a run at a political office later on are going to stand back because they don't want to be part of this craziness that I think is going to unravel as we get up to the convention and through the convention.
One final thought, Gary. I got to ask you, don't you think it's time for perhaps Joe Biden's handlers and managerial people with his campaign to say, Joe, it's time to sit on the back porch and watch the geese fly over? I think he's showing a frailty, both physically and mentally, that I don't think he's going to be the nominee, and I think he should bow out gracefully. Do you think I'm wrong?
No, I agree with you 100%. I never thought he should have gotten into the race. When you hear him speak, I totally agree with you. These days he's not sure what state he's in which state he's in when he's talking. And I think if people want to remember him as the quote-unquote confused old man, keep campaigning it for president, because that's how you're going to be remembered. And there comes a time to walk away, and I think his handlers should be telling him that. Hopefully they are, and he's just being a little stubborn, but who knows? It's a crazy field right now.
Absolutely. You're the best, Gary. I always appreciate having your very candid and really well-thought remarks on our program. Gary Goldman, the host of Business, Politics, and Lifestyles, and the man from Beantown and the Cowboy. Gary, God bless you, man. Come back soon.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, sir. Thank you. Always enjoy having him from back in Boston, Massachusetts. Gary Goldman, sharp guy. I really appreciate him. You know, the other day, we had an opportunity to go over and visit with the folks, Kelly and Matt Wiggins, at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living. And, you know, we've been advertising for them, and they had an open house last Thursday, and we went by and looked at all the beautiful rooms and the kitchen area. I'm telling you, seniors, this is a place that you need to call and find out much more about. The number is 650-4979. I'll repeat that number, 650-4979. Make an appointment so that you can go by and take a look at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living. Now, they're on Alfresco Road, and that's just 1 mile east of Walmart. I urge you to consider this for you, your lifestyle, living with your friends. 3 meals a day plus snacks and housekeeping, local transportation included in the rent. You better call them today. Kelly and Matt Wiggins at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living. The number, 650-4979. We are going to take a little break at the bottom of the hour, and then we're going to come back with one of my favorite people on the radio, and that's Brigitte Gabriel, so don't go away.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
I have been very fortunate in my life on this radio program to have a chance to visit with and get to know people that are really dedicated to trying to make America better and safer. This next lady that's on my program is one of my dear friends that has been on my program many, many times. I met her in person about 4 or 5 years ago in Caldwell, Idaho, and I have the utmost respect for what she does and what she represents. And I say good morning to the lovely Brigitte Gabriel with Act for America. Good morning, Brigitte. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing great. I'm delighted to be back with you.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I can imagine. I just finished reading, as a matter of fact, this morning, an article by Lori Flaherty about you, a profile in courage, and I want to say congratulations for something that is well-deserved, nice things said about you because of all the great work you do. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. You know, it was such a surprise, such a pleasant surprise to read that article when it popped up on my email. Somebody forwarded it to me. Because, you know, when you do what I do, the left has literally lost their minds. And right now, not only they disagree with you, you know, they express their point of views, but the left has lost its mind, and they go after you viciously when they disagree with you. And when you are in my position, you wake up every morning and you read all the hate mail, death threats, nasty emails, lies they write about me. So you can imagine my surprise when actually I read something so nice and so truthful. It really made my day. So thank you for recognizing that, and thank you.
You know, Brigitte, you have dedicated your life literally to talking about the evil in our society. And rather than have me expound on it, I'd like you to say, why are you so committed to fighting evil after all the problems that has caused you in your life? I mean, like the death threats and the hate mail and everything. You are 100% committed, and I have total respect for that.
I am committed to fighting hatred and evil done in any name or in the name of any religion, because that has affected my life since I was a child. I was born and raised in Lebanon, which used to be the only majority Christian country in the Middle East, by the way. This is no longer the case. My 9/11 happened to me in 1975 when radical Islamists blew up my home, bringing it down, burying me under the rubble, wounded, just because I was a Christian living in a Christian town. They were attacking our town. I ended up in a hospital for 2.5 months, and I would ask my father, why did they do this to us? And my father would tell me, because we are Christians, the Muslims want to kill us because they consider us infidels. You know, when you're in the Middle East, this is the life you grow into. It's very poisonous atmosphere. People kill each other for their faith or what they believe. So I learned that I was wanted dead since I was a 10-year-old little girl, because supposedly I was a Christian, born into the Christian faith, and lived in a Christian town. I ended up living in a bomb shelter for the next 7 years of my life, underground, without electricity, without water, very little food. And, you know, that's where I lived for the next 7 years, robbed of my youth. So when I became an adult, I made it my life's mission to understand what drives people to do evil. And I made it my life's mission to fight evil and stop it in its track. I became a journalist, an investigative reporter, and a news anchor. And from there, that's when I met an American war correspondent in Israel, married him. That's how I ended up in America by marriage. And, you know, when 9/11 happened, it made me realize that the evil that I thought that I had left on the shores of the Middle East has now spread worldwide, including here in the United States. And that's when I decided to become an activist. I launched a nonprofit organization called Act for America. I didn't name the organization Think About America or Pray for America or Wish for America. You can do all that, and it's wonderful, but without taking action to stand up for America and protect America, nothing changes. So I encourage people to go to actforamerica.org and join us. If this message resonates with you so far, go to actforamerica.org and join us.
You know, Brigitte, I'm going to say this, and you can correct me or agree with me at the finalization of my statement, but I see the storm clouds increasing. I see the horizon very clouded right now with a real conflict against Christianity from Islam in this United States of America. Am I wrong?
Well, we are seeing a war against Christianity in the United States, not only by radical Islamists in America. I mean, we know the Linda Sarsours and CAIR, the Council on American Islamic Relations, and the alphabet soup of many different Islamic radical organizations who are now, by the way, working with the socialist left to basically transform America, bring down America, change America from the way it was founded, the way our founding fathers envisioned America to be, the way you and I remember how America used to be 30 years ago, to the America today, where we have children, members of Antifa, born and raised in the United States, educated in American schools, who now despise our country, feel justified to show up to rallies or just to attack Americans using machetes, brass knuckles, injuring people because they feel justified in the name of their ideology, socialism. So now we are seeing the clouds, the storm clouds of Islamism and socialism coming together, working against everything people like you and me and people who love our country, who respect our veterans, who honor our military, who cherish our founding fathers, who believe in our Constitution and the preservation of our Constitution. We are now under attack, and the socialist Islamists want the destruction of the America that we love.
Brigitte, with the so-called squad taking over, I think, the so-called leadership of the Democratic Party, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar, Presley, Rashida Tlaib, how concerned are you of their influence and a growing popularity of their viewpoints in our United States House of Congress and also the Senate?
Look, I am very concerned, as is everybody who has been watching them rise to power. They have more power than all of the leadership of the Democratic Party, than Nancy Pelosi and Schumer. Look, they are the new face. The squad is the new face of the Democratic Party. They are the spokespeople of the Democratic Party. You take somebody like Ilhan Omar, over 4 million followers on Instagram. I mean, does Nancy Pelosi even know what Instagram is? You take Ocasio-Cortez, again, over 4 million. So when you look at the social media followers, and I only mentioned Instagram, I'm not talking Facebook, I'm not talking Twitter. So when you look at the at the power and the influence that they have on social media, influencing millions. You can take the old face of the Democratic Party in Congress right now, the Nancy Pelosi, the Schumers, the Dick Durbin, all these old representatives of the Democratic Party. They are irrelevant. They are truly irrelevant in this new language, in this new age where everything's happening on social media. The Democratic Party has been transformed from what it used to be under, John Kennedy. I mean, they could have been a Republican back then if you compare it to today. Today, they're socialist. They love Antifa. They want open borders. They stand with MS-13 gang instead of standing with our veterans and our police officers. And they are gaining traction. And that's why our job is so important, Zeb. I want our listeners to pay attention. Our job is more important now than ever to speak up, to become active, to become engaged, to become involved, to call your members of Congress, to call the White House, to thank President Trump when he does something to protect the country, and to become engaged in patriotic groups and political groups in your community, because we need everyone on our sides involved, because America is fighting for its survival.
Brigitte, as much as you travel and as many people as you speak with, of the politicians that you know and talk to, what happened to these guys and ladies as far as having a backbone to speak up and out against people like Tlaib and Omar? Why aren't they voicing their disapproval of what's going on in the House of Congress?
Well, look, the Democrats control the House right now. So, the Democratic Party is not going to stand up against Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and Ocasio-Cortez and these people because they are basically getting all the news. I mean, they are the news, on the news every single day. So the Democratic Party knows that they have a lot of followers and a lot of influence. And basically, if you go against them, you may be challenged and you may lose your seat. I mean, look, this is exactly how Ocasio-Cortez came to power. She unseated a powerful Democrat. And so this is why the Democratic Party is afraid to stand up and speak up against them, and that includes Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. On our side, on the...
Oh, no. I don't know what happened to the phone line, but Sean, if you could try to reestablish that call, I'd certainly appreciate it. All of a sudden, the phone line went dead, so Sean, our board op, is going to try to call her back. Meantime, if that caller is still there, I'll take your call and take your question, and as we're trying to get Brigitte back on the phone, we will ask her that question. Boy, of all the times to have the phone line go completely dead, that was not the time. So Sean's going to try to reestablish that, and hopefully we can get her back on the air in just a very short order. Dial tones, but no Brigitte Gabriel. So I don't know what happened. This occasionally happens with our wonderful phone systems across the country sometimes, and the line went dead, but hopefully we can reestablish everything. Stand by. Quick note that tomorrow, I'll say this while I'm waiting. I'm kind of in limbo like you are. Quick note, tomorrow, Sharon Wilmot will be taking over the program, as Deanne and I are going to take a little 5-day extended weekend for Labor Day. So please, I ask you to tune in and enjoy her program on my program tomorrow at 8:06, Sharon Wilmot. Thank you. Sean, do we have Brigitte back on the phone?
Yes, we do.
Oh, I appreciate your help. Brigitte, we apologize. All of a sudden, the phone lines, sometimes the gremlins, and they might be liberal gremlins, I don't know, but we went dead there for a moment. I apologize. And finish your point about politicians.
And all of a sudden, you're no longer there.
I felt real lonesome, to be honest with you. Politicians in general, though, they're not speaking out. Our own Republican Congressman, Mike Simpson, you would think he would have at least spoken out in favor of the United States and our best ally, Israel, and against, of course, Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. But silence is golden. I don't understand why there's not more speaking out.
Well, they need to hear more from their constituents to say to them, you need to speak up, you need to take a stand, because remember, squeaky wheel gets the oil. If you want your elected official to stand up and say something, they have to hear the pressure from you. They've got to feel it, they've got to hear it. Do not be afraid to call your elected officials. The problem is, people on our side listen to the elected officials, shake their head, and they say, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're not doing this, they're not saying that. Well, you know what? They need to hear from you. This is what the Democrats have perfected, Zeb. I mean, their activism when it comes to pressuring their elected officials or advertisers or companies or corporations, etc. They have perfected that art. They can mobilize people to make phone calls. We need to do the same thing with our people. And I encourage people, go to our website, actforamerica.org, and sign up to get our emails and action alert, and especially sign up as an activist. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. We want to be able to reach you when there's an important bill coming down for a vote, when there's an important issue we want you to call members of Congress about their vote, about what they're doing. We make it very simple for you. We even have pre-written scripts for you. You don't even have to think about it. We give you the phone number, their email address, their address locally in your state. So make sure you go to actforamerica.org and sign up as an activist.
Let me ask you this, Brigitte, before I have to let you go this morning, but our education system even is so liberally slanted right now in favor of Islam and Islamic practices, etc., over and above Christianity, of which this country was founded on. How are we going to change all this? It seems to me we're going to have an awfully big broom and a dustpan, and I'm not quite sure what to do.
Well, it's going to get back to local activism. It's going to get back to the parents basically paying attention to what their kids are studying in school. When your children are doing homework, pay attention to what they're studying, because we know, Zeb, that this type of indoctrination is now prevalent nationwide in all school districts, because the Islamists have been able to provide consultants to America's top publishers that publish history books and social study books and influencing them on what to write in these books. So parents need to be involved with the school board. They need to be involved with the State Board of Education. They need to apply pressure on the State Board of Education, who approves the school books and basically buys the school books from the publishers. Follow the money. You need to put the pressure locally on your State Board of Education, and then they in turn will put the pressure on the publishers. We've got to become more engaged. It's no longer, oh, Johnny, are you doing your homework at the breakfast nook while mommy's cooking dinner, or both parents are watching TV or catching up at the end of the day? You've got to be more involved in what the children are studying and how they're becoming brainwashed in our college campuses, as well as our elementary school, middle school, and high school.
Absolutely. One final thought about Act for America. Please, again, tell my audience how they can obtain information about what you're doing.
People can go to our website, actforamerica.org. And again, we named the organization Act for America. Not think about America, not pray for America, not wish for America. You need to take action. Go to actforamerica.org. Sign up as an activist. It's free. We want to be able to communicate with you when there are important issues coming down for vote in Congress, or important issues regarding what's happening in our nation. So actforamerica.org. Join us.
My friend and a wonderful lady, Brigitte Gabriel, God bless you, and please come back soon.
I would love to. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure being with you.
Thank you. Brigitte Gabriel, Act for America, and I really give this lady a lot of credit and a lot of moxie for standing up and fighting for what is right. Brigitte Gabriel, thank you very much for being on the program. Holy cow, it's time for the weather. Actually, I'm running a little bit late here, so I better tell you that our weather sponsor for this hour is Scarro's Meats. Hello, Don Scarrow and the crew over at 331 North Road, Jerome. Oh, my. Labor Day weekend. You forgot to order the meat, didn't you? Oh, you got a great big company picnic, or your family's all getting together for Labor Day. My goodness sakes, check out all the marinated pork ribs or the tri-tips or all the sausages and the bratwurst. Oh, you can't have an outdoor barbecue without having bratwurst. I love them with onions and then, of course, cheese and a nice soft sourdough bun. Oh, my. Delicious. Get a hold of Don Scarrow at Scarrow's Meats, 324-7657. That number again, 324-7657. Scarrow's Meats in Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're looking at another warm day as we are making our way towards the Labor Day weekend. Here's your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies. High of about 93, slightly breezy winds out of the southwest at about 8 miles an hour, turning to the north-northwest in the afternoon. High of 93 tonight, mostly clear skies. It's a low of 54. Tomorrow, mostly sunny skies. However, by the afternoon, we do have a 20% chance of rain showers and thunderstorms. High of 91, mostly clear for tomorrow night with a low of 55. Looks like sunny and 88 for Friday. Back up into the 90s for your Labor Day weekend for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you very much. And brought to you again by Scarrow's Meats. Go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Check out all the delicious meats for you and your family. And that goes right along with the tagline for Scarrow's Meats over at 331 North Road, Jerome. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. It's great. In regards to some comments that have been made on my program, and I'm not going to back up. I'm not going to ever weaken on this, so don't even ask. I am absolutely pro-vaccination for our kids and our society. And I really found it hard to believe and imagine that I would be coming out in total agreement with an editorial, an op-ed piece that was printed in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch and reprinted in our local paper. And the last paragraph against anti-vaccination folks is what I want to read right now. Quote, "Those who oppose universal vaccination against controllable diseases are, whether they acknowledge it or not, arguing for a society in which the stubborn, radically anti-factual ignorance of a few is allowed to endanger everyone else. The anti-vaccination movement must be confronted at the social and political levels like the dangerous society illness it is." Amen. I do not want to see, and by the way, we have recently had the death of an Israeli flight attendant, due to measles. I do not want to see any of these diseases, measles, polio, whatever, make a resurgence in our society. They will, and they are. Please get your children vaccinated. And I go back again to the statements, stubborn ignorance is killing people. Do not allow that to happen. I personally am a polio survivor. Thank God. But it was touch and go for a long time. I wish and I prayed that the Salk vaccine had been perfected prior to my getting polio. It was not. I've had to live with it, as millions have had to live with it. I do not want that to come back in our society again, or any of these dangerous, deadly diseases. Think smart. Get your children vaccinated. Right now, I also want to tell you about our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations are serving you with the best of tires. I know you're probably getting ready to rock and roll out of town, and you better go over there because you notice that one tire's a little bald, or maybe you're kind of pulling to the right a little bit, might be out of alignment, or you put your foot on the brake, and whoo! carnival ride. You just kept on going. Well, make sure that you stop into any one of the 7 locations for the best in tires, the best in brake service, the best in front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this, but above all, the best in service to you. They do a phenomenal job at all 7 locations. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. Yes, sir. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, absolutely the best. As I stated, tomorrow on the program, Sharon Wilmot is going to be our guest host, and Sharon, on occasion, we're going to alternate some Thursdays, and she's going to fill in for me. Deanna and I are going to be taking a little bit more time for ourselves and taking care of some of the things that have to be done that we can't during the regular work week, and Sharon always does a great job. She'll be on tomorrow morning at 8:06, and I ask you to tune in. We will be back, however, next Tuesday after Labor Day, and we've got a lot of great guests to start off a brand new month, and we urge you to be a part of it. One thing, too, my weekly blog, Cow Pies and Coffee Cups, don't forget that that is available. All you got to do is go to zebbell.com and put your address in there, and it'll come to you. So please, we have expanded, and it's all across the nation right now, and I thank you, the audience, for helping it grow. Thank you very much. Blog called Cow Pies and Coffee Cups. We always end the program by saying the way things were are the way things ought to be. And, of course, the world needs more cowboys, but the number one special thing that we say at the end of the show, in God we trust, our national motto, and I urge you and your family to drive carefully wherever you're going on this Labor Day weekend, and be back here next Tuesday when I'm back on the air. God bless you all. Zeb at the Ranch. We'll see you Tuesday.